Hey everyone, welcome to this particular lecture. In this lecture, we are going to discuss regarding the Palo Alto Firewall version 11 dashboard details. So what are the available dashboard components you have when you log into the Palo Alto Firewall, right? So we will discuss that. So with respect to Palo Alto Firewall dashboard, so when you log in, so I have logged into the management port of this particular firewall. Now you can see that this is the default logo of this firewall, like PA-VM. If you want, you can change the logo as well, right? So you can go to the device section and you can go to the operations, and here under custom logos, right, so you can actually go ahead and change the logo. You can upload some logo that you want, okay, and you can commit it, so those will be updated, the logo will be updated anyway. So my topic here is to make you aware regarding the various dashboard components that we get in Palo Alto version 11, right? So basically Palo Alto version 11, the dashboard is going to offer a comprehensive overview of your firewall status and the various activity through various customizable widgets that is available here. And this widgets, it will be providing real-time insights into your firewalls system performance, network traffic that the firewall is processing, and the various security events that the firewall is processing. And you can have different breakdown of these dashboard components, right? So as you can see that in my dashboard, I can arrange this different components into multiple columns. So either I can arrange that by 2 columns or 3 columns. So right now 3 columns is selected, right? Like that, I can arrange it by 2 columns, right? And whenever I want, I can drag drop certain widgets. I can go ahead and select the various type of widgets that I want under application category. I can see top applications, top high risk applications, ACC risk factor based applications, etc. Under system, you have got different categories. Under logs, you have got different types of logs that you can actually onboard as a widget. For example, I can click on URL filtering logs or config logs, right? And I can drag and drop at any place that I want. I can customize this particular dashboard widgets according to my choice, either as 2 column or 3 columns, whatever. And alongside with the dashboard, you have got other components as well, like ACC, monitor tab, the policies, the objects, network, and device, right? So there are multiple components that you see. So let me quickly jot down some few key points, right, that you should be you must be knowing, right? So which will give you a better idea. So what are the different components that is available in the dashboard, right? So the first thing first, we will go ahead and see the various dashboard widgets, okay? So in the dashboard widgets, so you have got different types of widgets, like you can get application widgets, right? Application widgets will basically display the application with the highest session counts. So the size of each block will represent the relative number of sessions, right, that the application is currently having, or the firewall is currently having. And there are multiple colors that you will be getting in terms of security risk. It could be a green color to red color, right? So yeah, so application widgets will define which are the applications and what are the different sessions for which, or number of sessions for which these applications are getting counted. You can see top high risk applications, okay, which means that it will highlight any high risk applications with the most sessions, and similar in display to the top application widget which you'll be getting, okay? So which are the top high risk applications that is getting accessed currently. with the most number of sessions. And also you'll be finding ACC risk factors, right, in the dashboard. So ACC risk factors is basically going to show the average risk factor, which ranges from a value from 1 to 5 for the network traffic over the past week, okay, and with higher values indicating greater risk, right. So there could be a value of 5, let's say, right, which indicates that there is a greater risk of over past week, the amount of network traffic that this particular firewall is processing. All right, so system widgets is another component which you'll be getting. Under system widgets you will find a lot of other subcomponents, right. So you will find a very important thing called as a general information component, which will provide the details such as the firewall's name, the model, which you can see here, right, the general information tab over here, or the widget over here. So it is going to give you the information like the firewall's name, the firewall model, the PAN OS version, the definition versions for the applications, threats and URL filtering, current date and time, uptime since the last restart, the license information, the memory consume information, how much amount of CPU core is given to it, etc., etc. Even it will give you the management IP and management MAC address information as well. Okay, so likewise there will be tab for interfaces, okay, which will give you the operational status of each interface with multiple colors. So if it is up, it means the color would be green, okay. If it is down, the interfaces will be down, the color would be red. If it is unknown, so the color would be generally gray, okay. For interfaces which is running or supporting power over Ethernet, so a lightning bolt icon will be displayed, okay. So when you hover over an interface, it will reveal the additional details like the link speed and the duplex settings. For example, if you just place your cursor here on one of the interface, you can see the link speed and the duplex setting and the type of the interface it is, okay, and what is the status of this particular interface. All right, that's one of the important thing. So likewise, you have got another component over here called a system resource, right, system resources. So system resources will generally give you the information about the monitoring of the management CPU usage, the data plane usage, and the current session count, representing the number of active session that is currently passing through the firewall, okay. So it will have all those details, right. Likewise, it will give you the high availability information. So if you configure HA or high availability, then this widget will display the status of both local and the peer firewall, whether it is active. So if the HA is active, so it will be in the green color. If it is passive, so it will be in yellow color, or any other states it will be in black color. So we'll discuss regarding those things in the HA section as well, so you will see that. But yes, you'll be able to find the high availability widget as well. Likewise, you can see HA cluster widget. So when you configure HA or HA cluster, you can see the HA cluster widget as well. So when the HA cluster is enabled, it will show the cluster statistics and the keep alive values for the HA4 and the HA4 backup links for each cluster member, okay. So basically it will show you the HA4 interface information, right. So we'll discuss those things in the HA section upcoming. Likewise, you can see the logs widget. So logs are basically is kind of the list of configuration logs that is currently held by the administrator, right. So you can see that currently there is a log on the right hand side of my screen, right. So it says that no log is taken. You can click to take a log. So for example, I'm the administrator who has logged into this current management interface. There could be multiple administrators having whatever roles. Could be super user, could be read only administrator, could be a crypto administrator, I mean, there can be multiple administrators that can log into my same device at simultaneous point of time. Now let us say we have got 4 administrators, right? Admin 1, admin 2, admin 3, and admin 4, and all 4 administrators have logged in at same point of time. Okay, now if all the 4 admins has got the rights to do some configuration changes and saving those configurations, it would be a very cumbersome and tedious thing, right? So it is always good that, okay, if your firewall is been managed by multiple administrators, then of course assigning a lock to one of the super admin or the root administrators is important, right? So let us say I'm the root admin, I can take a lock over here, and my lock type can be a config lock or a commit lock, right? So if I take a commit lock, that means I can just write a comment saying that admin, or I can say root admin is working now, so taking the lock. Okay, so I'm taking a commit lock right now, so whenever the other administrator, so I just took the lock, I can do the commit operation, right? So let us say as of now nothing is configured, so I've taken the lock over here. You can see that the lock is right now it is taken, right? It is taken. That means at same point of time, if admin 2 or admin 3 have logged in, they cannot do any sort of commit changes, right, unless and until I remove this particular lock. Okay, so I can select this and I can remove the lock, then only the other administrators can make some changes. All right, so yeah, so it is very important thing. You can take either a commit lock or a configuration locks whenever you have multiple administrators that is working on this particular firewall at same point of time, right? So you can also see the information about the logged in administrators, right? The logged in different logged in administrators, right? So it will indicate the details about the active administrator sessions. It will include the source IP, session type, whether they have logged in using you can see that over here, logged in admins, right? So you can see that what type of admin it is, or what the admin username, by the way, the source IP of the administrator, the method by which it is taken to log into the device, when the logged in took place, at what time, etc, etc, right? And the different type, it can take CLI based login, or it can take web based login, it can take console based login. So the different types of methods it will list here. It will have power budget, or PoE power budget, right? So for all supported firewalls, it will display the total power budget, right? So it will have PoE power budget information as well. So basically it will show you the total power budget and allocated power for interfaces that is supporting PoE, and it will aid in management of connected power devices. So basically you will see the power budget information with respect to the PoE interfaces if it is available, right? Likewise, you will have logs widget. So logs widgets will be of multiple types. We have threat logs, and this is very simple to understand. So it will show you the threat ID that is associated with the application, and it will show you the timestamp for last 10 entries in the threat log, focusing on the recent threats that has been detected by the firewall, right? It will show you the URL filtering logs. So in case of URL filtering logs, as the name says, it will represent the descriptions and the timestamps for the URL filtering events that has taken place from the past hour, or it will help monitoring any sort of web access and policy enforcement, right? Likewise, you will have data filtering logs. Okay, as the name says, it will display the details and timestamps for any sort of data filtering incidents within the last hour, or it will assist in tracking data transfer activities that is currently taking place through the firewall. Likewise, it will show you config logs, That means it will show you the list of administrator username, the different access method, the timestamp for the last 10 configuration changes. It will provide an audit trail of those administrative actions that has been taken place. So yeah, those details you can see under config logs. Likewise, you can see system logs. So in system logs, it will provide the description and timestamps for the last 10 system events, which includes the entries like config installed, or which indicate successful configuration commits whenever it has been taken place, right? So yeah, depending on your multiple factors, administrators can customize this dashboard by adding or removing the widgets, as I've told you, to focus on the most relevant information that they need. Each widget can be refreshed individually. As you can see that individually I can refresh each of the widget, or I can refresh the entire dashboard itself by clicking on this entire dashboard refresh icon, or I can set up a refresh interval over here of 1 to 5 minutes, or I can define a manual process, or manually I can refresh this, or there can be an automatic refresh timer that I can give it for this widgets to get refreshed. So this flexibility ensures that you will have an immediate access to the critical data that might be required for effective network monitoring or any sort of network management task, right? For any further details, I would recommend you to go through the Palo Alto Firewall version 11 documentation before you go ahead and do some sort of implementation. But yeah, so I hope this will really help you out. Similarly, just the last piece, you might use certain CLI commands to also verify this dashboard details. So for example, I can go to the CLI of this particular appliance, right, and I can log into the command line interface and verify certain dashboard details using my CLI itself. Okay, so some commands that I can use, let me log in first. Here we go. Some commands that are equivalent to the dashboard details which you have seen could be this show system info. We will discuss regarding the CLI commands later in this particular course, so not to worry. As of now, I'll show you the basic commands which you can type in, right? So show system info is one of that. So it will give you the output which is very similar to the general information widget of your dashboard, right? So it will give you the output for the host name of the firewall, the management IP details, the gateway, the uptime, the MAC address, the license info, the CPU information, whatnot, right? Different types of app ID or the app version ID, etc., right? The VCC information. Yeah. So similarly, you can have other details like show admins. So by giving show admins, you can understand which are the administrators that is currently logged in. So I can see here that I have logged in. I'm the administrator. The username is admin itself, and there are two methods I've taken to log into this particular appliance. One via console, that is the CLI, and one via the web, that is the GUI session which I'm using in the backend, right? Likewise, I can use this command called as show system resources. So it will give me a very high level overview regarding the system resources with respect to the CPU resource consumption that is happening, right? With the control L, you can actually go down. If you do source system resources follow, you can actually run these resources, and automatically every 3 seconds it will get updated, right? The CPU stat will be updated every 3 seconds. All right. Likewise, you can, if you want to verify only the CPU information, so you can give the command show running resource monitor. It will show you the current CPU load and the CPU details over here, right? All right, so I hope it is clear so far. Thank you for joining. I'll see you in the next lecture. Thank you.